Dun, dun, dun. You're watching Cooler
Good
Talk.
morning. Hello. Today we're going to talk about when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah.
Usually there's more than one, today we are going to talk about something I don't think a lot of people are mindful for the all these struggles and challenges and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And someone said, Rhonda, when the student is ready, the teacher, example, just to start, one time I wanted to learn about patience. I was very, very impatient. And okay, I prayed, please give me patience. I need to learn about patience. Well, let me tell you, for the next week, nothing but chaos entered into my life, no matter what it was. It was just crazy. And I felt like my wits were being challenged to the end. And by the end of the week, I realized, oh, wait a minute. I prayed for patience earlier this week. And all the chaos stopped. I was a willing, ready, and able.
That's a wonderful story.
To learn about patience. It
just
took a week of craziness.
Well, I just found out, I Googled it. So this is a quote that's been
it's been around for the ages.
Yeah. I've seen that it was attributed to Lao Tzu. That's also ascribed as a Zen teaching. So I think no one's really sure when it originated, but it was a long time ago, and it probably originated in the East. And there's a second part to that proverb, or Marxism, or whatever you would call it, saying, which is, when the student is really ready, the teacher disappears.
That too. And I had a circumstance happen recently, and actually, I was the teacher that disappeared because the student wasn't growing.
Interesting. So you made a conscious choice that you were going to.
I made a conscious choice to detach.
Right.
And the reaction from the student was predictable.
Mm-hmm.
And confirmed that my insights were correct.
Right.
We can enable people. We can enable people and stifle them from growth if they continue to dwell in the past, dwell in their misery, and focusing on poor me, poor me, poor me. And then they try to manipulate people. They try to control and manipulate people to get what they want. And
to stay where they are.
Yeah, those of us who've been around a while won't put up with it. We do not accept that because we value ourselves. We value ourselves. We value our truth, and we value who we are. And when we're around, it's just like if you're around someone and you're constantly feeling negativity, you feel like something's being sucked out of you or drained out of you. At some point, I'll speak for myself, I have to look at that. Why do I feel like this whenever I have any kind of interaction with this person?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a consistent feeling. It's not just a once in a while type of thing. And you know what? I don't have to identify it. I recognize negativity. And whatever it is, and if it's not for my higher good, I have to remove myself
Mm-hmm.
and allow the other people to grow them on their own, because
On
my
their own.
my presence is not helping them anymore. It's the same,
Yeah.
doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Right.
You
And
know, I
it's
love,
not up to us as, let's say, it's not up to me as a teacher in a moment to decide whether that person has had the lesson or not. Like only that
right,
person can truly know whether they've really kind of incorporated the lesson or not.
right,
um,
right. And
yeah.
you can tell, but if
But it doesn't serve you
if
in the end either.
no, and this any stopping point for me is when someone tries to manipulate me. They try to instill guilt, shame, obligation.
Hmm.
That's a form of control. It's
Hmm.
toxic, and I won't have a part of it. Period. I will not. And everybody's energy changes. I mean, our vibes with each other don't always coincide. And I learned from someone that, yeah, think of it when you're in a group of people. Some people will wander off and be together. Some will, and then some of them will come back. Some won't. It all depends on what's going on, and whether you're connecting or not. And
Hmm.
it's not personal. But I don't like bringing something up and then having the person trying to turn it around and make it all about them. And I I'll quote myself. It's time to stop the drama.
It is. It
I
is.
will not.
Amen. You're just preaching it this morning, Rhonda.
Man, I'll tell you. So, uh, and you have to be careful that you're not working from emotion or ego.
Yeah,
And you can
ego.
almost tell when you're going to say something whether it's coming from the head or the heart. You can tell,
Hmm.
you can feel it.
Yeah, you
So
can.
there are a lot of things I wanted to say, and I kept saying in my head, no, 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 and it's just part of the ebb and flow of life. It's that simple. It's not like we won't ever encounter each other again, but for right now, we're just not jiving. It's that simple. It's simple.
It's that
And
simple.
yeah, and I've noticed this particular individual has played a part in played a part in similar drama with another person. And I made some observations at that time, so I've just been kind of watching. And
Hmm.
the student revealed their true self, and I saw it, and I'm just going to move on. So, and being a recovered alcoholic and doing all of the work that's necessary to get into a stage of recovery, not recovering, because that's like an ongoing for everything, getting recovered, which is another topic. I've done the work on myself to
Hmm.
know what is toxic behavior and what's not.
Hmm.
Because, when you get to be my age, if you're paying attention and you want a better life, and want a positive, loving life, you're going to take a look inside and see, what am I doing?
Hmm.
And it's crazy because this was almost a karmic thing, and I told this person some time ago, I said, it's almost kind of scary because I'm looking at my old self through you.
Hmm.
And it's very
Wow.
and it's very educational.
Wow.
And I didn't realize, uh, now I'm looking 30 some years later, and I'm like, oh, I did not realize
They were your
how
teacher.
unhealthy I was.
Yeah, but that was in that moment, they were your teacher. And then when you
Yes.
realized, then you could end that relationship. Like you didn't need that anymore.
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I had to do what other people did to me.
Mm-hmm.
Detach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Detach with as much love as I could, even though I wasn't getting the love.
Right. Well, and that's first of all, the love is out there, right? And of course, sometimes like when you might be giving love in one direction, but you won't be getting it from that same direction. And we just have to trust that
Right.
like we
Right.
we are being drawn to the energy that we put out. So
Yes.
I guess I want
Yes.
to underline that, but I love both of your stories. They're so
Oh, thank
insightful.
you.
And Cece actually brought up this funny question, but actually that too is insightful. Wonder how our spirit guides feel about us.
Oh my God. Sometimes they must be laughing.
Oh gosh, they've got to be laughing all the time. Like, I
And
am
I'm like, oh,
sending
here we
you
go again.
pictures, right? Like, you asked for patience, Rhonda. Um, yeah, I mean,
And
and
if you're looking to improve your financial situation, you're not going to improve it until you start focusing on how you're improving your situation instead of focusing on how miserable you are
right.
and how limited your resources are.
Mm-hmm.
Our resources are not strictly financial.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually,
Our value, having peace of mind amidst chaos has no price tag on it. None
yes,
whatsoever.
none whatsoever.
And if our
None
focus
whatsoever.
is if our focus is on love, patience, kindness, and tolerance, and so on and so forth, that's what we're going to attract if it's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
has to be sincere. You have to really want that change and be open to the lessons. And
Yeah.
eventually, it got to be a joke in early recovery with a whole bunch of us because um, we would sometimes throw our arms up in the air and go, another friggin' learning experience. Everything, everything that everything we were doing to improve our lives,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, physically, was a learning experience. It was a paradigm
Yes.
shift. We were learning how to look at the
Mm-hmm.
world differently and look
Yeah.
and look at the world through a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
And over
Yeah.
and over and over, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And then we'd have these
And when the
aha moments.
student is ready, yeah, is
And
really ready, he'll disappear.
then that not everybody is meant to stay actively involved in your life for a long
Yes.
term. Sometimes it's short
Yes.
term. And I can count 10 people in my lifetime that were there for a reason, and most of them have died. But
They moved on.
they moved on one way or another. But it's like, okay, we're here, we're having this thing going on, we're helping each other without being aware of it, and then people go their own direction. Sometimes they do, they get different interests.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for different things, they're looking for different conversations. But to say to someone, because of me you were introduced to the blah blah, and I'm like, okay, this thing you introduced me to is all about giving without expecting anything in return.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at, and it is God who brought that, and
Mm-hmm.
you were a willing participant. See, sometimes
Yeah.
we're tools Sometimes we're conduits for other people. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When someone
Yes, they do.
talk about a lot was when um, the the right people, the people that are supposed to bring you the message of what you're looking for will appear, and sometimes they disappear just as fast. It was intended,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and who are we to judge? So if someone says, "Look, I'm just gonna with we're not gonna have contact for a while," and I think a friend did that to me, and I'm like, "Great, okay." I respected how she felt because she had another direction to go. I respected that, wished her well, and left it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Deal.
It's the flow
Um,
of
so
life.
so uh, I think people have toxic behaviors and don't even realize it. We get so consumed with ourselves and what's going on with us that we aren't capable of seeing the effect we're having on other people.
For sure. It's interesting because some of the things that you're talking about, they're sending reminders of experiences that I've had. So most
Yes,
recently, I've had an
that's not an
experience
accident,
with, what was that?
That's not an accident.
No. Mm-mm. So one of the most recent experiences that I've had has been with somebody that I work with, and this person um, provides a lot of opportunities for me to learn how to stand up for myself, and I am practicing my abilities to stand up for myself in a respectful way that I can still, go to bed with myself without any, let's say, distraught feelings or thoughts. And but I'm realizing now that the interactions that I have with this person on a regular basis are actually a continuation of interactions I had long ago with my ex husband. And if I really think about it, at the core of our issues, my ex husband and I, it was also that, like, I did not stand up for myself. So there was a lot of pent up frustration and resentment because I wasn't speaking my mind the way I needed to. And so
Mm-hmm.
we always left things off in this tense area. So I didn't leave, or I didn't, let's say, learn from that lesson. And now I can see, oh, there must have been a pattern. Like that one teacher disappeared, but like I've had other teachers since then. And I'm only realizing now that they're teachers. So
Well,
I'm
that's
ready
half
to
the
get to the
battle.
really ready stage. It is half the battle. Just the realizing it, the
Yeah,
recognizing it.
yeah. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, another friggin' learning experience.
Right, right. It's like, and in the case of the teacher, the learning experience might be like, yeah, you can lead those horses to water, but they're not always going to drink. In fact, and it's not even up to you to notice whether they're drinking or not. That's not
No,
your job. It's just like
well,
your job was to do what you did. You're not going to get an award. It's just
right.
that's the flow of life.
Yeah, it is the flow of life. And it's not good. It's not bad. It just is. And um, it's not something to be taken personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's about respecting people's boundaries, and getting out of yourself enough to actually listen to what they're saying.
Right. And
Yeah.
acknowledging always that you're the student. You're the student. You're the student. Like for yourself, you're always the
Y-
student. Even as the teacher, you're not really the teacher to yourself. You're the student.
You have to be open to that, though.
You have, well, as a student, that's what you are. You're open to, the
Mhm.
inputs and integrating it and kind of understanding like where you are in this new knowledge, new
Mhm.
awareness that you have.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes,
it's
sometimes
interesting.
what we want isn't where we're meant to be, and sometimes we can limit ourselves without knowing it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Even as students.
if we can open enough to let God decide for us what's best for us, things I really believe that things will be much much better than what I had planned for myself.
Hmm.
And like I
I
said, peace of mind has no price tag, and you can't put a price tag on serenity and peace of mind and peace of heart.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
a true student shouldn't really have expectation of what they're supposed to learn. And it's funny because I remember when I was in grad school and I was paying my own tuition and everything, so I was very appreciative of being in that environment and making
yeah,
that choice for myself and choosing the courses I wanted to take, to learn. And I was around a lot of students who were a bit younger than I was, and some of them they'd be like, I'm not learning anything in this class, blah. This was also before the internet, so it's not even like you could hunt for the information. You're like, if you needed guides,
yeah.
and they'd
A
say,
closed
I'm not learning
mind.
anything. I don't like Mr. Teacherman. And I would think, like, well, the teacher isn't supposed to like impose lessons on you. Like that was, 1823, when the teacher imposed the lesson, you had to memorize it and then
Yeah,
go off into the world and
yeah.
become, the knower of this fact. And it's like that's not what learning is. Learning is applying knowledge. Learning is taking in information and then sort of this alchemy of, yeah, taking that information in and then being able to like bring it out into the world in your own way. It's like learning music. You might learn the classics, but then you play jazz.
Mhm.
It's kind of taking it in and being a part of that.
Right.
So learning is a very like internal experience. It's
Mhm.
not an imposed, asserted way of, I don't know, living. That's not living either. So I don't know. I went off on a toot there, but
No, no.
oh well. But I was very glad to be in grad school, and I appreciated the lessons that I learned. But I also knew
Yeah.
that I wasn't learning from the teachers. I was putting myself in that environment to learn, and I was willing to take in as much as I could and use what I could
Mhm.
to become a bigger person,
Right.
bigger,
Well, being a little older,
spiritually.
you have some experience under your belt, life experience under your belt, where someone who's coming
Mm.
right out of high school doesn't have that life experience and to to anchor on, if you will. You know.
Right. So they're not even, they weren't really ready. So the teachers might have appeared, but they weren't appearing to them.
Right.
They were the horses led to water, but they weren't drinking.
Right.
Um, yeah.
And
And
another thing is life experience gives you different perspectives.
mm, sure does. Sure does.
And April has
Life
joined us
experience.
too. Wonderful. I'm going crazy
Hey.
things on my screen here. It was just opening
Oh, it is.
season.
'Tis the witching hour. So our
It is
our
already. Oh
teacher
my
has
gosh.
appeared,
Oh my
which
gosh.
means we are ready to realize that we need to wrap up the show.
Well, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And all I can say is if you deep down inside your heart want something to change in your life, you might have to have a little pain before you get some gain. But that's the little tip that's about getting perspective and looking at a situation a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you like to close with anything, Cynthia?
Well, I'll just close with the second part of that saying. So, as I said earlier today, nobody's quite sure who said it first, but it's been attributed to Lao Tzu or Tzu. And so he says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And then he says, when the student is really ready, the teacher disappears. So there is a silver lining.
There is. There truly is. And it's only for the good, I think.
This too shall pass.
If you're open to learning. Yeah, if you're open to it, because some people will take those experiences and go the other direction and develop hatred, resentments, self pity, and dwell on that negativity instead of going the positive way and seeing how can I take this situation, learn from it, and make things better for myself. And
Yeah.
if you're really into it, how can I help myself, help others?
Yeah.
That's about it.
Well, there's always another teacher around the corner.
Yeah, and I posted
If you're not.
a little blurb this morning, and it said everything you need will come to you at the right time. Is that backwards?
Yeah, it is, but that's all good.
Everything you need
It's true.
will come to you at the right time, but you have to be ready and prepared for it.
Maybe that is our topic for next week.
Well, that's a good idea. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, you might be in the middle of a lesson and not know it. Pay attention.
Probably. If it's awkward, probably.
Yeah, you know it. Bye-bye.